Yo, what's up? So we have about 2 days left in the current banner. Let's go over which one is worth it and which one is not. Firstly, Norah. She's only pretty much used in Andra's leaderboard, and that's pretty much it. Right here, as you can see, the first top 3 is using R6 Norah. She's not like, you can only use her at R6 in Andras. You can also use her at R0 and R2. Yeah, as you can see, rank 8 uses an R2 Norah. And the reason why she's so good is because her damage does not crit and she does massive amounts of damage while also ignoring defense, right? And also because of her S2, it allows her to proc multiple times. So when the boss does his first AoE nuke, she could actually proc 4 times on the S1. So she actually does insane amounts of damage on the boss, and she also doubles down as a wave clearer for her S2 or S3. And then you're also gonna see like R0, there we go, R0 Norah right here. The lead that she has is also very good on Ritual Miracle, but once again, she's only pretty much used in Andra's leaderboard, and that's about it. You can also see her some teams using her in Fafnir, so she is more of a Andras unit than Hilda was. So yeah, but yeah, that's Andras. So if you want to get a good unit for Andras, then you could pull for her. She's gonna provide you a lot for Andras. But for Fafnir, there is 1 or 2 teams using her. One team using her at R1, using the relief set because her S1 does 3 hits and it does very good damage as well. But again, this spot can pretty much be swapped out for anything else. So she's not really a unit made for Fafnir, and I think there's only 1 team running her in Fafnir, and the rest is not really utilizing her all that much. Yeah, there's only 1 team for her in Fafnir. She's not going to be using Apex, she's not going to be using Chronos, and the Falsetto Fantasy, I did say that she's going to be good, but looking back at the Sentinel Hunt that we have currently, the Forbitzer is pretty much AP control and then putting sleep units. So she's not going to be any useful here. For Counter Sonica, she does do a bunch of AoE hits, but once again, the lineup is pretty tight. The first team, you pretty much just want a AP controlling unit plus 1 defense scaling, right? So she's not going to be good there. Team 2, you already have like Yun Chuan, Embla, Chloe as your DPS, so she's not going to be any useful for you. And then Team 3, you want multi-hits, so Lu Yi is going to be one of the best units you can bring. The twins as well, because they multi-hit a lot. And then you want 1 healer, or maybe if you don't want 1 healer, then you could maybe slot her in, but she's not going to be like anything crazy. Her damage throughout the fight is not going to be anything crazy against Sonica. So Sonica, she's like maybe a hit or miss. The only one that I can see her being useful is for Dark Starlord, because Dark Starlord has these 2 followers that does AoE hits. So whenever she puts up her S2 and they do AoE hits, then she could retaliate with her S1, right, multiple times. So that could be good, but once again, it's very tight. The first team, you pretty much want the poison teams, and then the team 2, you're again Yun Chuan and Embla is just pretty much guaranteed to be on the team, and then Chloe as well being a very huge DPS. And then team 3, you want Ggez to be in there because he provides buff block, and then the other is flexible, right? So you could potentially put her in one of these team, maybe swap out the twins with her, or maybe swap out Falcon with her. But again, her place is not solidified in any of the Sentinel Hunt or Falsetto Fantasy bosses, and she's not going to be any useful for Desolate Land. So in my opinion, in PvP she is pretty good at R2, but R0 she's pretty much useless. And in my opinion, the new unit that we're gonna get, Abzu and Tiamat, is better than her in PvP. So if you're looking for a PvP unit, I wouldn't go for her even at R0 or R2. I think the new unit, Abzu and Tiamat, is going to be better than her at what she does, right? So Norah, in my opinion, she is a skip unless you want like a good Andras unit, and that's pretty much it. And then Ollie, this one is very simple. He is pretty much only used in Chronos and Shadow Glow. That's just about it. But you don't really need him to be at high resonance. He just needs to be at Shadow Glow. I think you need him to be at R2 for the 2 turns invincibility, and he is pretty much in all formation, because he is one of the best flow DPS that does one hit, and he does have that save ally mechanic thingy. So yeah, as you can see, Ollie, you can pretty much see Ollie in pretty much all team comps, because again, he is, except for this one, because he is one of the best flow type espers that does single hit while also saving one ally, right? So yeah, Ollie is one of the best that you can bring in Shadow Glow. R2 plus, when you take a look at Retro Miracle, his only use is in Chronos, and that's about it. And he is irreplaceable in Chronos until we have a unit that can do what he does but better, basically power creeping him in what he already does, which is saving one ally, retaliating with his S3, and also have like max HP scaling damage, right? Ollie will be in the Chronos speed team for the end of the days because, you know, he's pretty much irreplaceable in Chronos, but you only need him at R0. He doesn't need to be at R2 when you're running him in this sort of speed cleave teams or speed teams. As you can see, there's a R1 Ollie right here. Obviously, more rezos is going to be better for you because you do more damage with Ollie, right? So you can one-shot the boss easier. But for the most part, R0 Ollie is pretty much what you need. As you can see, R1 Ollie right here. So yeah, that's the only two places that you're gonna see him. In PvP, he has pretty much fallen off drastically because he's only used in speed teams that includes one DPS. So something like the Exodia comp. Even the Exodia comp has reverted back to Tiye instead of using Ollie. But the reason why Ollie is still used in like the Exodia comp, because it heavily hinges on Changji doing all of the work. The rest of the team is support, so if Changji dies, then the team falls apart, right? So that is why the Exodia comp still uses Ollie instead of Tiye. But any other team doesn't use Ollie. If you need a speed lead, Tiye is just miles ahead of Ollie, and Ollie is used for cheesing defenses with Tever, and that's pretty much it. And it's not cheesing any form of Tever comp, because if you're going up against like this type of comps, right, and you're bringing an Ollie against it, your Ollie will get stunned. He will get cooldown increased by Ethan. He will get stunned by Tiye. He will get buff stripped by Tiye. So most of the time you're still gonna lose if you try to cheese like this type of Tever comp. So it's better to just cheese the Tever comp with like a Hyde or even a Renzi is going to be better, rather than bringing like Ollie to cheese Tever comps, right? So in PvP he has kind of fallen off. Even in RTA he's kind of fallen off. I think he's in the wish pool. If you don't need him, if you don't farm Chronos, I don't think you don't really need to get him, to be honest. If you don't farm Chronos, because Chronos right now only drops one useful set, the rest is useless, you don't need to get him. But if you want to speedrun Chronos, then he's one of the best, if not the best unit for Chronos, and he's gonna stay that way forever, pretty much. So Ollie, R0 if you want to farm Chronos, and R2 not needed, R6 not needed. So if you don't want to farm Chronos, you can totally skip him. And then lastly, Tiye, R0 100%. But if you don't care about PvP and you're pretty solid on towers and you don't really need her right now, you can wait, because I'm pretty sure she's in the wish pool. R0, if you are into PvP, then she is a must-have. She is currently one of the best units in PvP and one of the best units for RTA as well. I can guarantee you her pick rate is 100% in RTA. But the question is, should you get her to R2 if you have enough wish stones, right? So that one, in my opinion, is a no. She doesn't need her R2, but her R2 does add an effect to her, a bit of RNG to your team. If you use her in defense team, I'm gonna show you real quick. If someone brings a Toland into you, you put her on Avatara, and then her R2 can counter, steal AP, and then also boost your allies AP by 10%. Because yeah, there we go. I AP absorb right there, and also AP up. So now she stole the turn, and I got the comeback, right? Because she counter attack. And there's a few instances where this happens when someone brings a Toland into you. Even if you get outsped, which most likely is going to be the case, because Toland is the fastest unit currently. And when this one we still outspeed him. When Toland does his a pursuit attack with his S1, you can counter that, steal AP, and then win, right? Okay, we got outsped here. I think Tiye counter attack right there. AP up, she stole the turn. Now I come back with that. So yeah, with her R2, it is very good to put her on defense when you have her with Avatara, because it adds a layer of RNG for the enemies to face. And I'm pretty sure this one I also counter him. No, never mind. I outspeed. But yeah, as you can see, like a few instances where Tiye counters, it does turn the battle to my favor, and I end up winning. You probably know by now that she's not going to be used for Ritual Miracle, DISLYTE Lens, and any of the PvE modes except for the towers. So if you're struggling in towers, she is one of the best units to bring, because her S3, right, the AP swap right here, is not counted as a AP boost, as you can see, not regarded as AP boost or reduction, and it still works even if there is a rule in Infinity Tower that specifically states that Espers are immune to AP manipulation effects. This one still works. The AP swapping still works because it's not regarded as an AP swap, AP reduction. And then also she is very good in Forbiter. I'm gonna show you a Forbiter team. The first team I have 1 unit. The last team I have 1 unit. So it's just going to highlight this team. You can give her as much speed as possible. So whenever she spams S1, she will then give all of your allies 10% AP, because you can control Forbiter, right? So all of her skills are gonna AP control Forbiter, including her S1, and then her S1 as well is going to AP boost you if you have her at R2. So this team alone, I think, is possible to get like EX++ ranking, which is 6 million if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, 1 team, and I got 16 million. I got 16 million with that team. I got 16 million with 1 team. Like, what the heck? Obviously it's not just because of Tiye, it's because of Elaine as well. Elaine providing that 2 turns of sleep is massive for this team, but it's also the fact that Tiye keeps on AP boosting the rest of the team, that I can cycle like insane amounts of time before Forbiter gets like a single turn, right? And it's pretty much consistent to get like 16 million plus. But this team probably will not work against falsetto bosses, because those have turn limit, right? If there's no turn limit, then yeah, 20 million with 1 team. 1 team got me 20 million. So yeah, she's gonna be insane in like Forbiter, but it's not a guaranteed when it comes to falsetto fantasy, because the falsetto bosses is going to be slightly different. It's going to have like less turn count if I'm not mistaken, so she might not be good there. She's still going to be good, but not as good as the Sentinel Hunt Forbiter boss. If you're someone that's into PvP or RTA, then she is 100% a must-have at R0. R2 not needed, but it is good for your defense team in point war, in and also to add a little bit of RNG for the enemies to face even in knockout. R0 is all you need for towers, and R2 is insanely good for Forbiter boss. R6, I don't think she is worth it. Once again, I don't think any unit is worth R6ing currently, because no unit in the game is insanely good at R6 in every single game mode. For TA, R6, she's only going to be useful for PvP, and that's about it. R6 Ellie, again, PvP. Pretty much any unit in the game at R6, they're only going to be used in maybe 1 or 2 content. So TA is not going to be a unit that is, in my opinion, worth R6ing unless you're a mega whale, right? And then lastly, the rate up for Shimmer is Toland. In my opinion, if you don't care about PvP, once again, he's a PvP exclusive unit, so you can 100% skip him. But if you are into PvP, in my opinion, he is the best Shimmer unit for PvP currently. Once again, he is the fastest unit in the game. Being the fastest unit in the game paired up with light set means it is a fastest unit in the game, and being an AP pusher. That two combination is the reason why Unas, for the longest time, even though he doesn't really provide much, is still meta. Now that he's not the fastest unit in the game, and because of light set changes, Unas has pretty much become obscure in PvP. He's pretty much obsolete at this point, and he's only being used against like teams that do not have Toland, right? So if someone uses a Tiye or a Clara, then you could maybe bring an Unas to outspeed with this slightly higher speed that you have with Unas. But again, he's not the fastest unit in the game anymore. It's now Toland, and yeah, you put Toland on light set, he's going to be amazing in PvP, but he's not gonna be anything crazy for PvE. He is pretty good for towers, but that's pretty much it. So in my opinion, if you're free to play, I would highly advise skipping Toland, even though I say he's one of the best PvP unit. The reason is because this thing, right? These records are extremely scarce, and you only get to PT once a year. So you don't want to use your PT for a unit that is only used for PvP, and that's about it. If you don't have a Shrine Pin, then he is a skip. But if you do have a Shrine Pin, then maybe you can try your luck for him. But I'm gonna skip. Once again, the Shimmer priority, in my opinion, is going to be Shrine Pin, and then Tever. Yes, I said Tever. At this point, I think Tever is better than any of the units except for Shrine Pin, because it's not the fact that he's the best in PvP. He's by far not the best in PvP. Feng Nusi is better, Toland is better, Shrine Pin is better. So yeah, in PvP he's not the best, but he has more uses in PvE and PvP combined. He is the best unit that you can bring, best DPS that you can bring in all of the shadow bosses. He is the best unit for Andras. Very good in PvP, in RTA, in Knockout, in Point War, and he's also very good in this Sentinel Hunt bosses or Falsetto Fantasy bosses, because you can put him on the relief set and he could pop off like crazy, right? Let me repeat, the Shimmer priority in my opinion is going to be Shrine Pin, number 1, number 2 Tever, and then number 3 is going to be Toland, and then number 4 Feng Nusi. Nusi is the number 4 right now because I don't think she's worth it. She's only a PvP character and she's being outshined by Toland. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the order of priority in my opinion. But yeah, that's about it. A quick recap on which I think is worth it and which is not. Yeah, ciao.